of enemies come through, and he toasted them with his level 1 Nova.
Oh!
And right afterwards, another second wave spawned in. And so that's the cool thing, is like you can actually have multiple waves, not just one wave generated, but you can link that to connect to have a second wave, third wave, as many waves as you want.
Now, is this intended to be one of the Groot seeds?
Yeah, this is a seed, and I have a feeling I just kicked it off.
Oh
no!
What are the chances?
All right.
I'll bring in another one.
I'll make another seed.
Yeah.
With a little Disney magic.
Now, for everyone watching, only the creators of the toy box are able to do this little spark mode cheat, if you will. You guys that will be downloading these levels when they are released at the launch of Disney Infinity Marvel Superheroes, will be able to experience them completely on your own as the designer intended. So this will be a lot of fun for you guys.
So that's one of the cool features we've added this year is you've got, kind of the arcade mode to where you can play it without any of the creative abilities, so that it's meant to be played like the creator we wanted it to be played.
Intended.
I did this earlier.
I just know you will succeed. Nothing.
Succeed? Huh? Little pun there?
Thank you, JP.
Yeah, I got it. I heard it. It's like we're moving it here onto the pressure plate.
Yeah.
There we go.
Got it.
And then over here is a puzzle to get the other seed that's behind this field.
Okay, so it's blocked off. You have to solve the puzzle first. So that was an illusion. You thought you were just going to go over there and pick it up. Nope.
Very cryptic.
It's not that easy.
So it's not making them all the same symbol.
Oh, that one changed.
Or is it?
Okay.
It's not that symbol.
So I don't know, like one of the cool things, and we've seen the invisible barrier, like right there. A cool property to it is, as you saw Ben walking into that invisible barrier, you kind of saw like an animation where it looks like you're kind of rippling as you bump up against it. If that doesn't tickle your fancy, you can actually turn that off if you're wanting like completely clean, like invisible walls that you just want to like simply run into without even knowing they're coming. Just a little tip and trick for those invisible
Right, so that would be especially effective if you're creating a 2D side-scroller, right? Because you wouldn't want to see your character actually bouncing up against the collision volumes and have it do that rippling effect, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we heard a lot of that from the community on 1.0, so it's a really cool improvement that they requested.
So what's our vision here, D-Animator, this particular piece of terrain?
This is the platforming to get to the next seed, which is right here. But there is another field in front of it, or not. Okay.
Cool.
Another cool thing with those enemy wave generators, you saw there like the Sakaran enemies. They like spawn and drop in from like invisible pods from above. If you want that effect, you can have that turned on, or if you just simply want them to just be spawned into the level without any effects, that's another property that can be turned off as well. The developers really that may seem like a really minor thing to give no thought to, but it's really fine-tuned touches. Like if they're spawning around walls, there's no need to have those effects spawn in, but sometimes you just want to be slammed and surrounded by a bunch of those effects to kind of overwhelm you. So it's kind of the cool things they've put in the game.
So the idea of this section was to open this chest and get the key, which would trigger the replayer to clear the field so you can get the stone.
Another cool use of the key feature.
Yeah, I never thought that we'd get to use keys to unlock seeds. All right, looks like you're coming up on it. Boom.
There we go.
Nice.
Flying with the seed,
That's sweet.
D-Animator, as opposed to kicking it around, he decides to use Nova's incredible abilities to fly and carry items to the next pressure plate.
Okay,
Nice
so
job.
use one more.
All right, so we got 3 down. What's coming up next?
So that unlocked the Milano.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
So if you don't have a flying character, then use this to get up there.
That's great thinking from a game design standpoint. Make sure that every character, not just flyers, are able to access different areas of the map. Good job, man.
So you're not taking the Milano back.
No.
How are we getting there? Through the teleporter?
Nice.
Ooh.
And that's a cool thing that we figured out on this too. I didn't know that you could like teleport through a teleporter while holding an item as well. So that's pretty
So-
awesome.
And you worked on the game.
To get the 5th,
New things every day.
I'm a mentor.
for the 5th pressure plate, you just stand on it after you collected the 4 other seeds.
Nice.
And then
And then we camera cut.
Baby Groot was supposed to be on that stand. I don't know if he showed up.
It's awesome.
He's a
Very
baby.
cool.
He's down there.
It's probably pretty tiny.
Do you see the whole?
Oh, wow.
It's really cool. And it's cool to see the aerial view of your level too, because we were platforming through it, and now we can kind of see what the design was.
Yeah, totally awesome. You had no idea that's what you were going across the entire time.
That's awesome.
That is
Very
awesome.
cool. Thank you, D-Animator, for showing off your level. And remember, if you guys want to vote, hashtag D-Animator on Twitter.
It's great.
I'll throw that to
Good
you
job.
guys up there.
It was so hidden, you were surprised.
I was really surprised. Yeah, so when it came back, we see the camera at the end there. We see that it's actually Groot. So although Agent M had to run off, he will be back and will be judging these particular Toy Box submissions by our artists, and then we'll be awarding a Marvel theme prize for the toy box that is the best in Marvel's official eyes. Now, joining me is VP of Art for Disney Infinity, Mr. Jeff Bunker. And our good friend. Hello, Jeff. How are you?
Well, hello.
You look well rested in comparison to all of our other friends around
Absolutely. I slept in a bed last night.
here. That's great. So, what did you think of D-Animator's design there?
I am super impressed by the stories and the. Let me step back. Infinity 1, I was blown away by the toy boxes all the community was creating.
Yeah.
But it tended to be like, in my mind, it was a lot of mashups, which was cool, but it wasn't as themed as what I'm seeing now, that there's a lot more effort to tell stories because of the new tools that allow you to tell stories better, and the cameras, it's much more cinematic, and I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I was too. I mean, how it was touching, right? It was, Groot has been defeated in battle, and you need to pick up 5 seeds in order to bring him back to
Yeah.
life. And then the way that D-Animator, came up with that story in the beginning, and then at the end, when it pulled back, it was a bit touching.
It's a game.
It's a game.
It's a game.
It's a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think, John? Kind of being quiet over there.
No, I mean, are you talking about the one specific, or are you talking about in general?
In general, how are you feeling, John?
In general, I'm feeling great. John.
I know you are. No, I'm talking about the Animator's Toy Box.
No, it's. I think that it always surprises me. Like, I always come at these things from a different angle on that, and the usage of all the terrain pieces to make art in and of itself, it just strikes me as so creative. And so that's I mean, I think that a lot of obviously the effort that went into that to make sure that like you can both play on it and that it becomes an image. That's like hard, and so those are hard things to do.
And that was thought of and done last night.
Yeah,
right.
That's incredible.
And all intentional. I mean, that's Pirate Steven's one of the guys that also has done a lot of great bit art for us in the past. So it is fun to see people really use their creativity to build platforming with bit art, and that surprise at the end too is a great payoff, right? Yeah. When that camera cuts and you actually pull back to see. I mean, it's such a fun payoff. So, all right, everyone watching on Twitch, we're ready to go over to our next submission. So, Allison, would you please take it away?
All right, I'm really excited to introduce you guys to a family from France. Woo! So they came all the way from France to Toy Box Summit. It's a very long journey. So we've got Matthew and Stephanie, and they go by dsmmat. And then we also have Adrian, who goes by Super Adri 21. So the cool thing about this family is that they all play Disney Infinity, and actually dsmmat and Super Adri 21 placed in a challenge, and they both made the top 5 in 1 week, which is really cool to see. So Adrian's gonna take us through his toy box.
Do we have a translator on hand?
We do
Allison?
have a translator on hand. I do not speak French. So.
Ok. Vas-y. Qu'est-ce que tu fais là?
So what are we seeing here? It's a beautiful, beautiful level, and I think that's something that's really the signature of dsmmat, the dsmmat family, is that their levels are always beautifully
Elle est en train
designed.
d'expliquer justement que vous êtes focalisé beaucoup sur le design.
Oui, on a utilisé les nouvelles textures en fait.
So they use a lot of texture. They always use a lot of textures. They always use a lot of power discs. So when they started building their toy box today, they tried out all the power discs.
Okay.
And they found textures they liked. And it reminded them of a toy box they tried to build on the first version of the game. But I mean, you'll see their showcase piece at the end. When they tried to build that on 1.0, they quickly reached the limits of the first toy box. And so on this one, they've really managed to push their creativity.
That's really neat. So now they're finally able to build what they tried to build on 1.0, but weren't quite able to, and they're finally able to realize that vision. That's so neat. So how do you guys work together on these toy boxes?
Comment est-ce que vous travaillez ensemble?
I saw you building together last night. Who's directing? Are you both building at the same time?
Est-ce que vous travaillez
Aujourd'hui,
Oui.
spécialement, en fait, quand on nous a annoncé qu'il n'y avait pas de thème prévu,
So when it was announced that there wasn't a definite theme, when
c'était
they
un peu la
had
panique.
a wild card,
Et en fait, on a regardé un peu les power discs qu'il y avait et puis on a flashé sur le thème.
so they had a look
préhistorique.
at all the power discs that were available, and they really liked the prehistoric theme, and that really inspired them.
So the name of this toy box is Jurassic Adventure. And can you tell us a little bit about what we're doing here?
Ok. Donc vous pouvez décrire un peu ce qui se passe, le
Oui.
but de la toy box?
Donc en fait, c'est un parcours jurassique.
So it's Jurassic course,
Voilà,
basically,
donc il y a des petits pièges, des ennemis
With some
à
traps.
combattre.
with
Et
some
puis il y a des petits coffres.
enemies to defeat,
Voilà.
and some chests where you can find some items.
So when you're opening up the chest, you're not sure what's in there.
You never know what you're going to
Never
find
know.
in the chest.
Okay.
So he's walking around opening all the chests at the moment.
Right. Like it's not another enemy. Oh.
There you go. Our man likes cakes, apparently.
D'après des rochers.
So it was really interesting watching them work because Stephanie is more focused on the design and the creative side.
Okay.
And then Matthew really works on the logic of all the activities.
So they really complement each other
Yeah.
in terms of artistic side,
Yeah,
logic
absolutely.
side. It's really cool to see a whole family building a really neat toy box together. So what are we climbing right now? That's my question.
That's a surprise.
Okay, we're about to find out.
It took them about 7 hours to build that.
7 hours. Did you guys sleep at all tonight?
Vous avez dormi?
1 heure chacun en fait.
Yeah, they slept 1 hour each.
1 hour each. Wow. So a lot of time went into this.
But they actually
You guys
started.
look good for being up all night.
They actually started their toy box with building this. That was their focus, the showcase, really. And once they finished building that, they actually saw how much space they had left in the toy box. And I think it was a great surprise to see that they actually could create a real game around their showcase piece.
So there was a lot more space left because in 1.0 the block meter might have been
Donc il y a
filled
beaucoup
up.
plus d'espace en fait dans la toy box, beaucoup plus de possibilités.
Ouais.
But not with 2.0, you have a lot more space.
Ça,
to add
c'est une
gameplay.
bonne surprise et on va en profiter. Hein.
Yeah, so
Là,
it
on
was
a
a
manqué
real
de temps,
surprise.
mais c'est vrai qu'on avait envie d'en faire encore plus là. Hein.
They were under a time constraint, obviously.
Yes.
But they're really gonna make the most out of the new capacity of the toy box and the size of it.
Do you guys have any plans for when you get 2.0, what you're going to do?
Est-ce que vous avez déjà des idées, des choses que vous aimeriez construire avec le nouveau jeu?
Pas vraiment pour l'instant, mais je
No, they
pense
haven't
que
really
quand on
thought about
l'aura
it
en
yet.
main à la maison tranquillement, on va en profiter.
Yeah, they haven't really thought about it yet. But obviously, as soon as they're at home, they will make the most of it.
This interior
Okay,
is
There you
huge.
go.
so we're about to see what's going on, right?
there's one.
The big reveal.
Exterior.
Okay, so he's reached the end of the course, and he's won.
That's awesome!
That is amazing, guys. Very good job.
Tu peux te mettre en mode étincelle? Pour montrer un petit peu comment ça. So he's going to show you briefly what the inside looks like in the spark mode. So yesterday when they started building it, they started right at the bottom and they built it up using all the blocks.
Wow.
Now obviously they also had a lot more blocks available than when they first built it on 1.0.
Yeah, the texture on those blocks
Yeah.
looks really good.
Yeah, it was a very, very good texture to use to build the dinosaur.
Very nice choice, guys.
Now they've also used the block, I can't remember what you call them, the blocks to obviously restrain the spaces where players could go.
It's amazing.
A
They-
really cool experience for me was, these guys speak French and I do not, and they're playing the game and the language is in
Puis,
French,
évidemment, vous jouez en
and
français.
all these creativity toys and all these new toys are completely new to them,
Et tous les jouets sont nouveaux pour vous.
they had like no problems.
Et
Even
vous
though
avez en
I
fait-
had a
vous avez en
hard
fait
time
appris à
helping
les
them out, I'm
utiliser
trying to look
pratiquement
through the
sans
screen
peine.
and figure out, I don't know what option to select, and they
Donc lui, il essayait de
took
vous aider,
through
mais
and
il
they
savait pas
found ways
vraiment
to get
où aller
around
puisque le
those
menu était français.
barriers, and like they were champs. And this is like, I thought it was cool. Like they said, this is the first thing that I saw them building. And I was like, well, this is going to be ambitious.
été
And then I come
impressionné,
back
en fait,
later
quand
and
il a
they
vu
have
le
a
dinosaure
massive
qui était fini,
volcano
vous
with
aviez
erupting
construit.
lava blocks everywhere. It was really cool to see it all come together at the end.
En fait, on a commencé le
So
dinosaure
when
tout
they
de suite.
they started with
Il était 15
the
heures.
dinosaur.
Et on l'a fini, il était quelle heure? 22h, je crois. 22h, 23h.
Yeah,
Et
so
puis,
it took them about 8 hours to
8
build.
hours just
Et
on
le
a
reste-
dinosaur.
et le reste de la nuit, c'était pour le reste du niveau.
And then once they finished the dinosaur, obviously they focused on creating what was going to go around it.
C'est un projet définitif.
Oui. On peut en parler qu'on avait commencé ça
Oui,
en
je
fait
l'avais
dans-
déjà dit.
D'accord.
Something very interesting they told me as well is that when they create a toy box, they try to focus on giving the younger players the ability to complete the course as well. So they made sure that there was nothing too difficult to do, that
you-
it was very straightforward.
Do you have Adrian test it out for you?
Est-ce que Adrien a testé la toy box pour vous?
Ah oui, plein de fois.
Oui. Yeah, he tasted it multiple times.
That's great. You also have a tester in your family.
Donc vous avez aussi un testeur dans la
Ah
famille.
oui.
Well, this just turned out incredibly well, I would say.
Donc elle trouve que c'est absolument génial.
Thank you.
If you guys like this toy box, vote for it. #dsmmat. Thank you so much. And we'll throw it back to you and we'll get the next toy box loaded, John.
I have like nothing to say. That was spectacular, you guys. Amazing, amazing, amazing work. What did you guys think?
It is just like you say, it's incredible, and then it's meaningful to me because our intention for Infinity was that this is supposed to be Disney, where you do things as family, and here you have first of all, it's just a really cool execution on a level, but it was done as a family, all working together, and so we're hitting it on the head there. It's awesome.
And a family in France, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
And how nice was it that we were actually able to get them the entire build of the game in French so that they were able to play. Shout out to our localization team.
Yes,
Great job there. But what did you think, John?
So, I mean, number one, I was blown away by the dinosaur. It's kind of like, man, kind of that purple stuff they're climbing up. It's kind of like hard. It's kind of hard on the camera.
Right.
When we got to the top, it's like, oh, it's because it's the outside.
And then the pay. I mean, I remember when you had said it was funny because for you guys that are watching right now, it's like I can hear Jeff grunting with excitement. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
oh. And then you going, dude, look at the size of this interior, right? And as we were going through, I mean, it was wild. I mean, the payoff at the end too. When we pulled the camera back, just loved it.
So, but like when you think about it, back to Jeff's point, we've talked about like over and over again. It's like this is play your way, and you're seeing so many different creations that are anywhere from a 2-player combat arena to something that's just incredibly like, hey, we're making this world that's totally awesome with a dinosaur that's right there.
Yeah.
And everything in between. I mean, it's been really, it's like, wow, this is you can do that.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's I think one thing that I also found interesting about their toy box design was their philosophy that they want to make sure that it's pretty straightforward and easy enough that a kid that might actually download this and then begin playing, maybe a gamer that has less experience than some of the other more core gamers can actually get through it to get that surprise at the end. And we definitely go through that all the time ourselves as game developers. We always talk about a game that you can beat is much more rewarding than one that's so incredibly difficult you throw the controller down, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So definitely found that kind of philosophy, and hearing these philosophies from all the different creators here interesting. Is there anyone in particular that has kind of stuck with you guys?
The ones with the strong stories, I think, but I mean, like right there, it's got a strong payoff, which is maybe it's a great moment, too. So, but I think the story-based ones have been pretty meaningful to me.
The thing that's striking me as a group is just the variety, the diversity. I mean, it's just each one of them can express themselves the way they want to express themselves. The way it's just an amazing different ways you could approach it, and they're all express themselves the way they want to.
And I think the other thing that's also fun too, like we had seen in the map previous, is that since Disney Infinity does feature the most iconic characters in the world, whether that's characters from the Disney side like Rapunzel and Anna and Elsa and Wreck-It Ralph and Buzz Lightyear, or from the Marvel side like Iron Man, the Guardians of the Galaxy, people are using those stories and those characters as inspiration for the creations that they're making, which is a lot of fun,
But it's really fun seeing Iron Man flying around a big purple dinosaur. Too.
Let's not forget the real fun is just Iron Man flying around a dinosaur.
Yeah, or like that. They're telling their own story there. That's not even based off of a Disney property as far as the theme of the world goes.
Right.
Where other people have gone more Marvel-centric or something like that. They've just gone whatever.
Yeah, we had one of the creators that was actually pulling up the comic books, right, as inspiration for what the level design was. So it's definitely a lot of fun. Looks like we are ready to go to our next toy box artist. So I'm gonna kick it over to Allison, who's got MightyGitis' toy box. Let's take a look.
All right, we're here with our last toy box mentor team. We've got Quinn Jitsu, who is the mentor for this team, and right here is MightyGitis, and she's gonna walk us through her level, which I'm so excited to see. Let's see what you got.
All right, well, I, in the past couple weeks, have seen Guardians of the Galaxy multiple times. And so when I got into this and I saw Groot and I saw some of his moves, I could not resist building a Guardians of the Galaxy toy box. And I started on the interior. I didn't have too much time to do the interior. I just kind of built it, threw some Marvel characters in there, just Groot in his pot. But right here we have Nova the dog, and he's going to give us our mission. He's going to tell us that Saccharine soldiers are attacking Groot's homeworld, and we have to go help them.
Sweet.
And I'm not going to take Rocket. I'm just going to let him go. And we're going to go through the door, and it's going to ask if we want to travel to save Planet X, which is Groot's homeworld, so we're going to head that direction. It's going to load for a second. Loading,
I thought that they had such a
loading.
good thing going, you know, like as friends. And he's like, well, we're done. See ya, sucker.
I mean, he's hanging at headquarters. He's fine.
So I noticed you had the genie wandering around. What was the...
I had to put some sort of tribute in there, so I just kind of tossed Genie in there. He's dancing in the corner at startup, so when you come in, you're going to see Genie just to reminisce for a second before you go out on your mission. Alrighty. And here we are, and I love this sky dome. This sky dome I could not use. I just couldn't do it. And it looks really sweet, and we're here into the Mini Milano. And here we have 1 minute and 29 seconds to get through all these rings, and of course I totally missed the first one.
No pressure, MightyGitis, no pressure.
Well, I mean, I didn't exactly sleep before I came up here, so, and we've got turrets. You don't actually have to kill the turrets if you don't want to, or you can if they annoy you.
So would you say you're flying through the middle of nowhere?
Literally flying in the middle of nowhere with all kinds of stuff to fly through, and we're heading to Planet X off in the distance, and it takes a little while to get all the rings. I swear I had this down earlier. Flying is beautiful in this game. I'm very happy with the controls.
That's great to hear.
Very
Just
happy
for
with
you.
the controls. I'm happy with the rings. I'm happy with all the collectibles. As if you played any of my levels in 1.0, you know I used to do complicated creativitoy measures to create collectible games. And here I don't have to do that anymore, which allows me to focus on some other things. And here we are is a little island that is themed to Groot's homeworld. And we have to find 5 Groot figurines. We're going to pretend they're not Groot. We'll pretend they're other Flora Colossuses. And we have to throw them into this stump in the middle to save them. And we, of course, have bad guys, because if there weren't bad guys, it wouldn't be any fun. His combat skills are amazing. This is one of the collectible areas. Instead of using the pen, you can now use these things and throw them or miss it. Miss it. I swear I practiced. I swear I practiced. There we go.
Awesome.
Groot's got a couple of moves that I really love. This one, he's flinging leaves everywhere as he's fighting. This one has quite a bit of reach right here.
So good.
It'll go through things.
I wish I could do that.
It'll target enemies for you. You don't even have to think about who you're aiming at. It'll just
because
do it
like,
for
I'm flying,
you.
I'm safe. And you're like, nope.
Another reason why I had to make a Groot level is these trees are beautiful with their sparkling lights. And I just had to have an excuse to place them in the level. Originally, I wanted to create Nowhere itself, but the realization that I could not build that in 15 hours, I had to make a sacrifice there. But maybe I'll build that later when I have maybe weeks to build it in. And but I was really excited to get my hands on the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff because the movie is truly amazing. If you have not seen it, you should go see it, maybe twice, or even a third time if you have time for it. I actually listened to the, I'm lost in my own maze. I actually listened to the Awesome Mix Volume 1 while I was building.
Nice.
I skipped a couple of the slow songs, but still.
Don't
Had
wanna
to
put
stay
you
awake.
sleep, yeah.
Yeah, I had to stay awake. Oh, there you are. All of the Groots in this level are actually set to dance mode because, as we all know, Groot loves to dance. Whether he's in the pot or not, he will still dance. And so they're hopping around all over the place. The enemy spawners are amazing in this game. I used what is called a wave generator, and it allowed me to place locator beams that you cannot see because they're invisible all over the level. Oh man. So that when I arrived on the island, it would just spawn enemies scattered throughout. The selection of enemies is every enemy. Last time we were limited on some of the enemies and the spawning points, but this time I saw every single enemy that they let me see.
And those tree doors that you're using are Brave themed, right? Are those the ones that are Brave
The door
themed?
that I'm throwing the mini Groots in is Brave themed.
Okay.
I kind of, it was a tree.
Yeah, that's
It
awesome.
was a tree.
That's one of the things
matches.
I think is so cool about this game is like if you don't find a piece or an enemy that perfectly fits maybe what you had in mind, there's usually something else that will work really, really well. So it's another chance to kind of jog your creativity. and get that
As a
going.
builder, we often, as toy box artists, combine textures to create things. In this case, this is the only one I borrowed from another texture field, but that's because it was the only one I needed. Oh, I have one more.
So you had to branch out.
I can't.
There's your pun again.
There it is.
No pun intended.
Everyone's a comedian today.
And I can't believe that I placed all of them, and I'm not sure if the other one is up here. It's been a long night, guys. 15 hours is only enough time to scratch the surface of 2.0. I looked at all 79 I looked at all 79 Creativa toys, but I couldn't even begin to go through all of them. All right, we're gonna throw the last Groot in the tree. Or I'm gonna miss the tree and throw it out. You know what, you're annoying me. Oh no, where did it go?
If that was possible in traffic, that would be amazing.
Here it goes.
Don't run away.
He's like, what?
I'm
Did you
trying
do
to
it
save you.
Tough love.
No big deal. All right, guys. In the tree. No, why? That's what you get
That's
for
your answer
blocking my
forever.
tree.
Oh!
All right, okay, seriously? We did not sleep, guys. We did not sleep at all. All right, in the tree it goes, and here's the success. You are like Kevin Bacon.
That's an amazing one. Awesome job. Hashtag MightyGitis if you like this toy box.
Awesome.
All right, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
MightyGitis. That was a really fun one.
That's fun.
Yeah, definitely, definitely adorable. Love the storytelling. Love the Kevin Bacon theme, and of course Groot. I mean, there's an interesting character to build an entire toy box around. Maybe Jeff, talk a little bit about the art set that you had put together and your team had put together for all that.
Well, that's, I like to hear that she was making artistic choices. I mean, I'm an art critic. Hey.
Yeah, you are.
And it's really important to us that we create art sets that the fans are going to want to gravitate towards to tell their stories, so it was interesting having to come up with art sets that would go for a character like Groot or Iron Man, Spider-Man, all those type of characters, and sometimes it was challenging to find something abstracted from that type of character. But Groot, for instance, though, I really liked how his art set turned out. I think it's appropriate.
Mr. Blackburn, do you have any knowledge bombs to drop here?
No, I mean, just when you start talking art sets in the toy box, what I like is the diversity of what they are. So it's kind of fun when we go in to talk to the guys about, like, well, what are you going to do for a Spider-Man one? Or, they'll take certain pieces like the Asgard stuff. There's definitely a lot of things from the film that you can go take. But like Spider-Man, it's really just city, for the most part, is the environment he would be in. So instead of that, they kind of went with more of like a piece of his costume, as part of, each of the different pieces. And so with Groot, kind of did some of the same kind of things with the tree textures and the tree theme. And so try to hone in on some of the different unique elements there. And then we try to fill that out from a diverse angle to make sure that you can really kind of create a lot of different types of environments.
Yeah, what's really cool is with Infinity 2 now, that as we're expanding the palette and bringing more properties, now you're getting properties that are kind of close to each other.
Yeah.
So they can bring these two together and it doesn't clash. Like, sometimes it's cool to clash and just really expose.
Mash up,
yeah,
right?
Mash up. But sometimes you want to have it more aesthetically pleasing and make more sense for that theme.
Yeah.
And now you can take a piece from like these 2 or 3 other properties and still have it make sense.
I actually saw in our Twitch chat, people were talking about using those Groot trees with the frozen sky and ground in order to build, some pretty cool trees that feel like they could be within the world of Frozen.
Right.
So to your point, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that coming up with the release of 2.0. For me, with MightyGitis' toy box, I love the fact that, if you remember, we started off in an interior which we could go and kind of explore and see what that was all about. Then we transitioned to an exterior where we were able to jump into a vehicle and then go through a different gameplay scenario that was primarily about flying as we moved through those different rings all the way up into the top area, which is combat focused, but delivering those mini Groots to those trees. And so, I mean, now with 2.0, these toy box artists are actually creating different areas and pockets of gameplay inside of the toy boxes that they make, which I think is something that's definitely a lot of fun. So,
I was just going to say, the other thing is, I mean, it was a minor point, but it's kind of cool. We're used to having to do things that are just so much, everything we're going to put it on the disc is going to be not relevant when it finally comes out. And she was able to give a nod to Jeannie and to Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Make it totally relevant for right now, where we're just not able to do that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of fun. While we're getting set up here, we'll do one question. Brian Nelson, actually our head of PR for Infinity, sent a question that a lot of you have been asking, which is about 4-player functionality. Is 4-player functionality local and online? Is it inside of toy boxes and play sets, or is it just online? Can someone decipher this for all of our fans that are watching right now?
Okay, so when you're playing on any one of the systems, it's 2-player split screen, so it's only 2-player locally. So you can play 2 players in any play set, or you can play 2 players in the toy box locally. If you want to go 3 or 4 player, you're going to need to do that online. And so you can do that in a variety of different ways, but the play sets are they're not online, so you can't play 3 or 4 player in a play set. But in the toy box and in all the toy box games, you can play 4-player online in all of those. Now you can do that 2 players on 2 different systems, so each box would be in split screen, or you can do that as 4 individuals or any other combination.
Any combination.
Yeah.
And then some people had asked, is there any reason why right now the play sets aren't online connected? And do we have plans to make those online connected?
So right now we really don't. Really, when we go through to create that experience, oftentimes what we're thinking of is really trying to hone it down for the experience of you playing with somebody next to you, kind of locally. And so because there's a lot more structured play in there, and they really weren't designed for maybe 1 player to 4 players, and having the 4 players always go through them, we usually try to make it a better experience for just the 2 players kind of sitting together on the couch.
I think what's going to be fun, though, is that as the tools and the functionality of the toy box expands and people can start making more and more sophisticated toy boxes and build more and more sophisticated games, that toy box mode is all about 4-player online play. And so I think that as these toy boxes evolve, we're really going to be having a lot more multiplayer experiences inside of the toy box. So
You're seeing that this morning. I mean, a lot of the different experiences that were created in these toy boxes today, you can see how they can definitely be more for a 4-player experience.
yeah, that's right. All right, looks like we are ready to bring it back over to Allison. So Allison, who's our next toy box artist?
All right, JB, we've got SteveandTanner here, and they're a father and son team, which is really cool to see. They're also winners of the Movie Magic Video Contest, so they created this really neat video called Dash into Infinity and won their spot here at this summit, which is really neat. If you go on our YouTube channel, you can watch it. So guys, let's see what you guys created today.
All right, well, first off, before we load up the level, I just want to do a little bit of backstory.
Okay.
Now, I produce documentary films, so I consider myself a storyteller. And so one of the things we wanted to try to do with the toy box is not use it just for combat games, but to really try to tell a story and to really engage the audience through different visuals and through different story elements. So Tanner, why don't you go ahead and start the game up. The reason that I'm having him delay a little bit is so that we can show you how we use the text tools to really help people understand what the story is. Now, we're probably going to be considered Disney's ultimate bad guys here in just a few minutes because of what we're proposing here. But consider this as a story. In the year 2020, Disneyland adds a whole bunch of new stuff to their park. They add a whole new Tomorrowland, and they add Marvel Land as well to their Disney park. Now, unfortunately, it's in 6 months from that date, the big one hits the Southern California area. It drops into the ocean, everything's flooded underwater. So to boost morale, they send the Avengers in to do some recon, see what's left, and try to figure out exactly what is going on and what has happened here. You might think natural disaster, but maybe not. So we're gonna have some text here that helps us quickly explain that story so people that load up our toy box can see exactly what's going on. We push the graphics to the limit, so it takes a minute to load, but it's just about there, at least based on our testing.
So how do you guys work together? It's been one of the most interesting things about the summit is seeing families, husband and wife, father, son, working together.
I will let Tanner actually explain the different roles that we
Okay.
had.
Okay.
Turn around.
My dad has always been a really big fan of Disney, so he's pretty much memorized the entire layouts of the parks.
Oh, I don't want to miss the text though.
So yeah, in the year 2020, the Disneyland Resort opens its new Marvel Land. After only 6 months of operation, the big earthquake hits, sending Southern California to the bottom of the ocean. In an effort to boost morale, the Avengers were sent in to explore the ruins and search for answers as to why this happens.
Costume change.
On the plus side, they settled in a very beautiful area of the ocean.
So Tanner, would you like to explain the rules and kind of how we put this together?
So yeah, my dad has memorized the layout of Disneyland pretty much. So when I was thinking through ideas of things that we could both work together really well on, I knew that he had this layout really well in his head, and me and him can work together really well to get details and stuff laid out. So I thought it would be a good idea to just kind of try to make the park and then add our own Marvel Land onto it.
So Tanner, why don't you go ahead and take us down Main Street. Now, one of the things you're noticing, that there's not a bunch of people coming out to shoot guns at us. We're underwater, the guns don't work. So at this point in time, what we're going for is more of an exploration game. Let people look around, explore that environment, look for clues, and just kind of enjoy the beauty of it that can only come from something like Disney Infinity. So, Tanner, why don't you go down and head to the hub? We'll show you some things on Main Street here in a minute. One of the things that we wanted to do is actually have the rubble as a searchable ground. So, if you look to the very back here, Tanner, we've actually incorporated maneuverable lands into the rubble. We'll show you in a minute how there are clues built into the game. And that way you can kind of solve puzzles as you go. Now, one of the things that Tanner thought up is kind of a trip through the castle, which again is submerged, so there's lots of water that we can put in underneath.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, unfortunately, the rubble is built in, so you can't actually get out the back of it unless you have a jetpack like Iron Man does. But we'll just go out the front. Now, one of the things that we'll show you is we've got the tools that we do, but if you go do a quick scroll through Tomorrowland over here, lots of rubble has invaded the parks. As you come through, one of the things we discovered yesterday when we first loaded up the 2.0 edition is Space Mountain, which as Disneyland fans, we just kind of geeked out on. You can actually fly into Space Mountain, interact with the environment, hear the music. If you step on some of the discs, you can almost go around almost like a ride type of fashion. So yeah, as park geeks, we were geeking out at this. So we had to include Space Mountain in our layout.
Ooh.
Okay, so we can come out of there. As you get the game, definitely try this one out. All right. Now, as I said, it's the year 2020. Disney did add a Marvel Land to take advantage of the great Marvel characters that we have. So Tanner, why don't you fly into Marvel Land. Now, one of the tricks that we had is keep in mind we're using a really early prototype version of the game here. And one of the things that we struggled with was memory. Some things take up a lot of memory, some things don't. And so yesterday when we laid out the whole park, we put puzzles in each land that people could interact with and play. Unfortunately, that took up too much memory in the video game system we were using, and so it was either the puzzles or the park. So we had to go with the park and pull out the puzzles, unfortunately. But one of the things that we did try to keep in, as Tanner's going to come down here, is we have little clues that we try to hide throughout the game. For instance, leaders of the California National Guard were notified of the earthquake 1 week prior. Coincidence? Evidence could be found behind the castle, possibly. So what we're trying to do is use these little text boxes to lead people in different places around the game to try to build that puzzle and that intrigue. Tanner and I are both big fans of the show Lost, and so we wanted to try to take some of those elements as people are looking around, solving puzzles, solving clues, a little bit of a different experience from a Disney Infinity game, again, used for storytelling. Now, we did want to show off some of the interiors, so Tanner's going to come up here and find... Are you heading inside?
I want to show this.
Oh, yes. This is really cool for us. Especially because I was playing with Donald. He's my favorite character. And watching Donald drive the Main Street Electrical Parade cart it's a lot of fun. Another one you got to try. And yes, it has the music from the Main Street Electrical Parade built into it.
That's awesome.
All right, so get back to the
Oh,
restaurant.
nice.
Oh, tricky.
I don't think it can do that in real life.
Yeah, unfortunately, that'd be great.
That would be great.
With the Imagineers, anything is possible, I think.
No pressure.
So we decided to use the toy box to build some interiors as well, or at least one interior, just to kind of show off what we could do. Now, keep in mind, Disney Imagineers build things very solid, and they actually were able to build an interior restaurant that did not get flooded. We're not exactly sure how they pulled that off, but granted, there's a lot of damage up there, a lot of things. The bathrooms may not be working as intended. Yes, the broken toilets are an element of the game, and it allows us to kind of just wander around. Again, the whole point of our game was not combat. It was just explore the environment and see what all we could build using the Disney Infinity tools. Now, one of the things that was really hard for us is the fact that, again, we had to carefully manage our memory in the game. But we used the treehouse creator to build Tarzan's treehouse over in Adventureland, and it looked beautiful. And on the skyline, it just came out and did amazing things. But it was either that or Tomorrowland, so we had to cut down the tree and build Tomorrowland. So
Gotcha.
that is what we came up with in the last 18 hours.
Awesome.
Wow.
Wow.
Very
Great
nice.
job, you guys.
We'll send it back over to you guys. And we'll get
Thanks, Allison.
Toy box competitor up here.
All right, amazing work, Steve and Tanner. It touches my heart because it makes me think of how much fun it'd be to play this game with my father, who's not very good at video games, but certainly would appreciate the fact that we could play games together. What do you think, Jeff, in terms of the fact that you had members of your art staff making broken toilets as part of their day-to-day job?
And it works into his storyline. You know?
That's right. It does work.
It might have seemed pointless at the time. Here you go.
That's right.
You know,
This game needs more broken toilets in it.
that actually that's from the Hulk art set. Mm-hmm. And here it's found its way into a storyline that totally makes sense. That it's Disneyland has been submerged under the water, and I don't know. Just it's cool how people are taking their creativity and taking these pieces out of all these different art sets. That it was never our intent to use it that way, but they're just they're finding ways to use it to tell their stories.
Absolutely. What did you think of the storyline, John?
So I thought it's interesting, but I was more amazed by the space. Honestly, the park itself was huge, and when I look at how long it takes me to create these things, and I realize, it's like, it probably took every bit of the 18 hours, that they were talking about, just because to get something that's that large with that much thought that's gone into it, that then has interiors and everything else, it's, I'm both amazed when I see how fast you can build some of this stuff, but then I also realize, man, it's, it takes a lot of planning to lay something out like that to where you need it to, like a lot of times I build things that are kind of more free-flowing. To have something that's more like an architect needs to lay out Disneyland that's a pretty big kind of problem, is you have to go lay out the landmarks and stuff correctly.
Now, you and I looked at each other and nudged when they actually did the Space Mountain and the recreation of Space Mountain with the rails and the invisible rails and that kind of thing. I think that particular moment inside of that presentation, SteveandTanner's Toy Box was just great to me. And I'm really excited to see even more attractions and more stories that people come up with inside the 2.0 Toy Box mode. So how are we doing on time over there, guys? No, not just yet. So that means we're going to throw it to questions. And I've got a few right here. Nintendo, wants to know, will there be any Club Penguin things in the game? Club Penguin, of course, our kids' MMO that we have out there. Gentlemen, what do we think?
I think there's a couple small things in there, but it's more of a wink and a nod rather than anything really, truly large.
But it certainly is, everything Disney is part of our list of things that we consider. Yeah. And Penguin is definitely on that list, and as we are considering we always want to have some large statements that we're making. We're doing Marvel or we're doing this Pixar film or whatever. And we also want some little Easter eggs.
I thought I was almost going to have to cover your mouth there if you kept going.
And then we're good. But sometimes we're going to do, little Easter eggs from these obscure properties, like the condor wings or something like that. And so we're always considering everything from Disney Channel to
Parks and Resorts,
ESPN, or whatever.
yeah,
Exactly.
And of course, the Club Penguin guys are obviously very good friends of ours. So we definitely love to put some more cool Club Penguin content into the game, Nintendo. But before we do that, we're going to throw it back over to Allison, who's got the latest and greatest Toy Box submission. Is this our last one, Allison? Is that what you said?
Yes, this is our final competitor.
All right,
Last
our
but
big
not
final
least.
competitor.
All right, we've got TurnerBros here, and he's going to show us through his level. You want to tell us what you got?
Yeah, so basically this is my attempt to kind of mash up Disney and Marvel. The cop there has wandered into the corner, but I'll just tell you what he was going to tell you.
Just checking that doorway.
So in this story, Mysterio has taken over this warehouse and cloaked it with his illusions, which happen to be Disney environments. Spidey can get out from behind the door there. Yeah, so while that loads, I like in this game how you have more control over the sky domes. So that's really what I attempted to do here.
What made you choose Spider-Man?
An all-time favorite character.
Yeah? How do you like the way he swings?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
They nailed it.
All right, so I'm hearing some music now. It's piquing my interest. What are we listening to?
You got any clues? Disney movie? Alice in Wonderland?
That was what I was thinking. All right, so we're in there, and it is Alice in Wonderland.
Camera pops up.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, fortunately I know my way through this maze.
Yeah.
Yes, very fortunately. There's nothing more frustrating than just being stuck in a maze.
Well, it's nice that you pulled the camera back enough that you can get kind of a clue where you're going, but without giving you too many clues.
All right, so this is an illusion, you were saying?
Right. I taught you a little bit about Mysterio yesterday. So he's a villain. That's his superpower, is creating illusions to try to foil Spider-Man. So I thought it was a good way to try to kind of mash the two universes up, you know.
That's awesome.
We'll just avoid these card soldiers for now.
I like, too, with the glow-through effect, how you can see when guys are hiding behind walls and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when we come around the bend here, it'll change to another environment. And like I said, in 2.0, you can just throw down a trigger or any kind of creativity toy like that and have total control over which sky pops up rather than the same ones in the same order as the last game.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, so this has a completely different feel than where we just were. The music's changed.
I just thought of a terrible joke, but I don't know if people can handle it.
So yeah, once again you leave the city walls and sky
Oh, nice.
Right,
changes
everything's
again.
changing. Are we headed to the Cave of Wonders?
I think you're onto it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so just to show you, this is an instance that you can use the barrier to force the player to go into the actual place you want them to go in order to trigger the next environment.
Spider-Man on a horse is definitely an interesting image there.
Only in Disney Infinity, right?
Yeah.
Infinite possibilities.
So yeah, since we're in space, I thought I'd pop on the old symbiote costume.
Oh, sweet. One of my favorite costumes in this game, by the way.
bypass all those guys for now.
One thing I like about this game is that turrets are extremely aggressive. They're not kind at all.
So yeah, we're coming up here on the final part of the level. As you get closer to the castle, you can see the actual power source for the illusion up at the top tower there.
Oh, cool.
And that was made by putting an activator inside of
the effects generator, right?
Right.
Very cool.
So that's the thing you're trying to destroy to kill the illusion.
Nice.
He's like, I don't need a ladder.
Hopefully we can just scoot up the wall here. Oh.
Cool. Oh, nice. Good use of terrain.
Yeah, so see if we can destroy this thing. And when we destroy it here, the illusion will collapse and we'll wind up in the warehouse.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Building.
Like we were originally supposed to.
That's awesome.
So the whole time you were in the warehouse, it was
Yeah.
all an illusion. Very cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I
guys. So if you want to vote for this one, it's hashtag TurnerBros. Thank you so much. And back to you, John.
Alrighty then. So I believe that wraps it up for our first ever Disney Infinity Toy Box Summit. So we'd like to thank everybody that came out from all around the world to participate. Hi, Allison.
Hi.
That's nice to see you. We'd also definitely like to thank our friends over at Marvel, especially Agent M, who is going to be one of our judges for the best Marvel-themed toy box. So all of you artists out there that are watching right now, make sure you tweet your votes at Agent M so he can tally those. And I think we have a couple of other surprise announcements. Allison, would you like to maybe go over what the winners, the top winners are going to be getting as a result of all the fans out there that are voting for them?
Right, so first place gets a Sony PlayStation 4 and the collector's edition of Disney Infinity.
All right.
Second place gets a Sony PlayStation 3 bundled with the Disney Infinity Marvel Superheroes Starter Pack. And then for the Agent M prize, we're actually giving out all of the Marvel playsets. So you'll get the Spider-Man playset, the Guardians of the Galaxy playset, and all the figures that come with those.
That sounds like a lot of nice prizes, but we've got a very, very special announcement for all of our Toy Box artists that came and joined us. You will all be getting, before release, officially a Crystal Sorcerer Mickey figure. So hopefully you guys are very excited about that.
The first ever, right? Nobody else has this.
Yeah, no one else has this. This will not be available until December, I believe. So for all of you guys that came over from all around the world, thank you so much. But, John, I think we wanted to do one more special thing for all of our Disney Infinity fans.
So as we've been sitting here seeing all of these incredible toy boxes, we've just been having a conversation off to the side that we can't let everybody go without getting something even bigger, I think, this time around. So it's so hard to choose for us as to who's going to win. We're still going to do all the fan voting, but we're also just going to go ahead and throw in a PS4 for everybody to go ahead. So everybody here is a winner. So thank you for coming, and thank you for all of the effort.
I see some very excited faces out there.
Yeah. So we know you guys were up all night long working so hard. We thought it would just be the best thing possible is to make sure that everyone got a PS4 that participated in. So for all you Toy Box artists, thanks, guys.
But also, since this is kind of, since we've been doing this on the fly, we've realized we've kind of upset what the first prize was. So we probably need a new one of those.
That's right, guys. So as John and I were off talking the side, and you guys have brought this up to us at dinner, the first prize winner, we're going to change the rules a little bit, Allison. The first prize winner, whether that's an individual or a family or twins or whatever it is, will be forever immortalized inside of Disney Infinity with exclusive townsperson characters themed after them. So,
Wow.
Yeah. Be really, really, really exciting. So whether that is in this version of Infinity or maybe a version to come, we'll need to work that out, but you'll forever be in a video game, so that's pretty cool. All right, guys, so on behalf of Allison and myself and John Blackburn and everyone on the Avalanche team, the Disney Infinity team, thank you so much for tuning in to our first official Twitch stream of the Disney Infinity Toy Box Summit. And with any luck, we'll see you guys next year.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.